and welcome to Jewish Boy Calls His Mother. I'm your host, Sadia, and this is my mother, Ema. Hello, Ema.
Hello, my little sweetness.
Hello, my love, my sweet, I don't know, whatever.
Nemesis. Okay.
Nemesis, yeah. Actually, I don't know. I don't think I was such a rebel child that like I hated my mother or my father. I don't think I
No,
even
you
went
didn't.
down
You were
that
not a
road.
rebel.
No, because I felt it was stupid. I saw all my friends rebel against the system, blah blah blah. Like, I don't care. Yeah, fuck you, mom. Fuck you, dad. Fuck you, rabbi. I'm like, I don't care. I really
Just the
legit.
way he walks down the street, just
Da,
the
da, da,
way
da.
he shuffles off his feet.
I never heard
Why
this song
won't
before.
forget about when he comes walking by. He's my guy.
What?
He's my
What's that
guy.
from? What's that from?
That's what he's a rebel. He's no rebel. No, no, no.
No,
He's no
I'm not
rebel.
asking
No, no,
about the.
no.
I'm
To
asking about like what.
me. No, it's just a rock song from the 60s.
Oh,
Yeah, by the
okay.
Crystals. It was by the
By the
Crystals.
crystals.
Yeah, look it
You
on
know,
YouTube.
it's funny. I was listening. I was watching this TV show on Netflix. It was called The Queen's Gambit, I think, and it was really interesting because the girls had their makeup on, like how you have your makeup on, where it's like nude colors.
Hmm.
It's just and they were listen. There was this one song that kind of stuck out with me. It's I'm trying to remember what it's called. Um, shoot, it's losing me. But like this one woman was like singing Venus. I think I'm your Venus, I'm your
Oh yes,
desire.
that's Gladys Knight and the Pips. Yeah, I guess Gladys Knight sang
Oh,
that.
because she was wearing makeup like you wear makeup. That's
Gladys Knight wore her make. I'm surprised because Gladys Knight wore her makeup very strong.
oh
That was her signature. She was known for that. But anyway, I'm so proud of myself when you showed me how to put my phone on silent mode by pushing the side button. I was so
yeah.
proud of myself that I did that. I'm breaking into the 21st century and becoming more technologically astute. But there was one time though I felt so stupid. I called up um, AT&T tech, tech support. I said something's wrong with my phone. It's not ringing. I'm not getting calls. Whatever. You wouldn't believe it. I had the side button pushed down on silent mode and didn't realize
Oh
it.
my god. It's
I
honestly,
felt like
honestly,
such an idiot.
that happens to so many people. That's not even like a mistake. That happens in general to so many people. But that's the thing. It's like, sorry, I keep on drawing blanks in my mind. My mind just goes blank.
Well, as you get older, the memory's the first thing to go.
I don't care for memories. Whatever happens, happens.
So
Uh,
you wanted to discuss Yashki's bris. That's what my mother used to call New Year's. My mother used to call
oh yes,
New Year's
yes.
Yashki's bris.
So I wanted to talk about the New Year's, and you had a very good story that you mentioned, and I want you to tell the story, and then I want us to lean into what a New Year is, I guess, to you, and what a New Year is to me, and we'll go through that topic.
Okay, so anyway, when I was in high school, I was in the orchestra, and the one event that we all looked forward to in the orchestra was once a year, the Baltimore Symphony would have a free 2-hour concert down at the Lyric Theater. And they would bus in, all the public high schools and middle schools. And it was something that everyone in the orchestra looked forward to every year. So we come in to the orchestra room in the morning and we're looking at the bulletin board and we see the calendar for the orchestra, which would be, our performances or the schedules for performances for our orchestra. And on it is the Baltimore Symphony concert. And we all can see that it had been scheduled for Rosh Hashanah. So now this is a high school that was about, people used to say we were 80% Jewish at the time. It was Milford Mill. The orchestra director had never before taught at a school that was even the least bit Jewish. He had always taught at regular, white Anglo schools, whatever. And this was the first year that he was teaching at a predominantly Jewish school. So his name was Mr. Hardy. So he comes into the orchestra room and he sees that we're all standing there around the bulletin board with, rather long faces. and he says to us, "What's the matter?" And one of the kids says to him, "Oh," he said, "the Baltimore Symphony concert was scheduled for Rosh Hashanah." So he looks rather puzzled. He's never heard this before. And, Rosh Hashanah, he doesn't know from anything. And he says, what's that? And another Jewish kid says, "Well, that's the Jewish New Year." And his initial reaction was, "Whoopee!" Because in his mind, the idea of the Goyish New Year is, wow, drinking, carousing, partying. And when he did that, the whole room fell silent. And
Wow.
he looks at us and he goes, "Did I say something wrong?" So one of the kids says to him, "Mr. Hardy, the Jewish New Year is not like the Christian New Year. The Jewish New Year is a solemn day. We go to our synagogues and we pray to God for forgiveness for anything that we might have done over the past year. We contemplate our lives and we try to make amends." And he was like very surprised. This was like a culture shock to him.
Yeah, that that actually is really an interesting story, because I think that's what really shows the difference between, a Jewish New Year and the non-Jewish New Year. But it's something that I think it's just where we were brought up and we were given this opportunity, and we had the privilege to really, understand what a new year is, where it's like we have to take a look back. The whole point of all of this anyways is to elevate ourselves and to elevate our soul and to elevate, the world and make it a better place. And that the only way to, one of the ways to do it is to, every single year to take in what you did last year and the year before that, and try to reflect on what you've done. And by having the reflection, you can go ahead and be a better person. And by being a better person, you're more contribute to society. And I think it's if New Year's was taken more seriously, I think there would be less depression.
The IRS takes it seriously.
Of course they do. Uh,
Maybe we can take a lesson from the IRS.
well, for sure. That's kind of why when I mean by less depression, I think if people can really reflect on their lives seriously.
Maybe reflecting on certain lives would actually make them more depressed.
Well, I'm only saying it because I have depression and whatnot sometimes, and I work through it. And what I can see and what I've been taught by professionals is about seeing the silver essence, so to speak. It's not a silver lining, it's a silver essence. It's the core part of why you're there, because everything in this world has a purpose. And once you realize everything has a purpose, you start realizing that you have a purpose, and that no matter what you do, there's always a reason behind it. And there's always a positive reason behind it, because we're all part of Hashem, part of God, and we're all there to elevate this world. And I think for me, when I finish my new year on Rosh Hashanah, I feel better about myself. Because I took this seriously, I feel more confident in the new year. I know there's a thing where it's like they say that if you sleep on New Year's, you're gonna sleep your life away. Your year away, not life away. Your year away. Mm-hmm. And at one point, I was like, I'm gonna test that. And I did. I slept on Rosh Hashanah. I slept on Yom Kippur. And that year I slept a lot. I really slept a lot. And I was like, wow, that really is true. It's not just a thing. It really is true.
Well, my first real observant Rosh Hashanah was when I came to Crown Heights and had, Rosh Hashanah, of course, by the Rebbe at 770. And I didn't know you aren't supposed to sleep on Rosh Hashanah. And I took a really nice nap on Rosh Hashanah. And then somebody asked me, how'd Rosh Hashanah go? And I said, I feel so good. I said, I was finally able to catch up on my sleep. It took a real long nap. And that's when this girl told me, you're not supposed to sleep on Rosh Hashanah.
It's also supposed to be is you're not supposed to have idle talk, idle chatter. I know one of my friends, shout out Shmuel Rothstein. He doesn't speak on Rosh Hashanah. He doesn't talk.
Wow.
Um,
That's good.
yeah, so
Wow.
I tried that. It didn't work very well for me.
What do you do if people say, "Hey, good yontif to you"? I'm saying good yontif back.
You wave, you find other things to do. You find and more than that, it's more of a Chabad custom. I don't know about any other sects, but I know in Chabad
Mhm.
it's more prominent. So if you're more in a Chabad community and whatnot, then it's they understand it better, and then no one really, they greet each other, they say hi and whatnot, but they don't
Mhm.
try to have idle chatter or play catch
Mhm.
up or whatnot.
Actually,
Um,
stop to think about it. Small talk. We call it in American. We call it small talk.
yeah.
It really, what's productive about it? What's
It builds up bonds and connections with other people and makes you seem friendly and approachable.
okay?
It's
Well,
it's very
then it's worth it.
it's
It's worth
worth
it
it. No,
then.
it's believe me, I was curious about it, and I talked to people and read books, and I tried to because I get sometimes get too intense or get too deep or philosophical, where I was
Mm.
like I didn't understand why like people socialized and talked to people, like what's the point, blah blah blah. I was more introverted for a while. I still am a little bit, uh, but I had to really understand. Well, why make small talk? What's the point? What are you doing here? Let's get to brass tacks. Let's get work done. Let's move. Let's make things happen. And I realized you don't always make things happen that quickly.
I
You
think
have to
so. I
sometimes,
think also the good thing about small talk is that small talk can also serve as a bridge
yeah,
to more serious conversation.
yeah, I think so. I mean, it's like you talking about the weather because it's a good thing to begin with because it's what everyone can talk about, and then you talk about the game, and then you talk about work, and then you ask them how you're doing, then ask them is everything okay, and then they start talking about other stuff and they feel more comfortable.
Mm.
Some people need layers to get to.
Yeah, so
Um,
true.
they need that feeling of more of like okay, don't just pierce into my soul, just dial it back a little bit and let's just
Hmm.
get comfortable, let's dance a little bit, and then once I'm more comfortable with you and you're comfortable with me,
Hmm.
then we'll go a little further, we'll go a little deeper, we'll start getting more into it.
I've heard
um
therapists say that too, that when they start therapy, that it's a good way to begin with just small talk to make the person relax and trust you. And then it isn't very often until maybe the second or even third or fourth session that finally they're able to strip away the layers and help the person with what their real issues are.
Yeah, but that's also with up to the patient as well, because the patient has to be honest with themselves. And a lot of people, what they do is they play the victim in order to give themselves a sense of certainty, and they go ahead in order to play this role of being like, oh, you know, I can't do this because this happened and that happened, and that's all the reasons why I'm in such a slump because I'm so terrible and my life is so terrible and everything is the worst.
Mm.
Blah 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 blah. And all that's doing is you're just validating why you should be depressed. You're validating why you should be in the slump instead of reframing it to being more of like, no, I chose to do this. I chose to be depressed about my life because A, B, and C. I'm not like delegitimizing anybody. I mean, I don't have to say that anyways because these are the exercises that I've learned over time that helped me. So like, I'm sorry guys, but this is the only thing that works for me. So let it be.
Well, it's interesting you say that because Yoshua Gordon in his Shiurim that are on Chabad.org was talking about that very concept in regard to Yosef Hasadik, that Yosef was the prototype for how to deal with misfortunes in our life. He said, Yosef never, despite what he went through, Yosef never victimized himself.
Hmm.
And because he didn't victimize himself, he succeeded at every level in whatever place he was put. And finally, in the end, becomes Viceroy of Egypt.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's really why there is the Torah, why we have, all those stories. It's to elevate us and to make us relate to them, to show that we can do this. It's not about what you can't do. It's about what you can do. And when you look at the stories, you realize what people can overcome. And people are very resilient. People are very strong, and people also are very forgetful. And I think that's what really comes around is that trickery of forgetfulness. You forget how strong you are and where you came from and what you're able to do.
Mm.
And you need reminders constantly to remind yourself of where you came from and what you're doing, like daily, like a ritually, like on a daily basis, constantly doing that to remind yourself. I think maybe people should have more reminders. I think that's why, again, going full circle about the New Year's, is that we have a reminder every year of like, this year has stopped, has been finished, and now we're moving on to something else.
You brought up something very, very, very useful. That looking back over how you've overcome things. In other words, sometimes I look back over some of the stuff I've been through and in some of the ways that I've been victimized. And of course, to think about ways that you've been victimized, we've all been victimized on one level or another. Nobody's had a perfect, excellent, totally enjoyable life. We've all had bumps that we've had to overcome. And it occurred to me, instead of me thinking in terms of victimization, I should give myself a pat on the back and say, hey, that was a challenge in your life that you met and you overcame it and you went on.
Yeah. No, that's exactly.
And I think that's
what
how we need to. That's how we need to look at our lives.
Oh, total side note. What's that song people sing for New Year's? Da, da,
Should
da, da.
all acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should all acquaintance be forgot and days of Auld Lang Syne? Now, I don't know Auld Lang Syne. I think it's Welsh or Gaelic, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Interesting to find out. I'm going to Google it and find out exactly what language that is.
All right, sure. Let's give it a split second. While you're checking that up.
I'm not checking it up. I'm going to check it up later.
You're not checking it. Oh, you're
checking it up. Okay, why don't you check it up? You do this stuff faster than I do. You're more computer savvy than I am.
Okay.
Look it up. What's all that? Auld Lang Syne.
Well, what's the name? What's the name of that song?
Should all acquaintance be forgot? I think the title of the song is actually Auld Lang Syne.
Auld Lang Syne? That's what it's called?
Yeah.
Auld Lang Syne.
Auld Lang Syne, I think it's AUL.
And Syne. Auld Lang. Oh.
What is it?
Should all acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should all acquaintance be forgot and days of Auld Lang Syne.
Okay, so what language is that?
It's Auld long since. The point is the phrase is Auld Lang Syne is not recognizable to English speakers because it is not an English phrase. Translated literally to mean old long since, but the meaning is more like old times, olden days.
But what language is it?
It's Scots.
Oh, so it's Gaelic. Scots is also Gaelic, isn't it?
No, Gaelic is Gaelic. Scots is Scots.
No, I'm almost sure that Gaelic is Irish and Scots and Wales. I think they speak Gaelic in Scotland and Ireland and in Wales. Yeah, I'm almost sure.
I think
is there anybody out there maybe that can clue us in on this?
We can figure this out in 2 seconds.
This isn't a talk show.
It sounds like a shitty talk show for constantly like, what does this mean? Oh, I don't know. What does this mean? Oh, let's figure this out. Oh, you're right. I was wrong. It's Scottish Gaelic. All right, I was wrong.
My God, he admitted his mother was right and he was right. Flag the moment.
Ema, I do this to people all the time. I don't understand. Like, it's not that hard to admit that you're wrong.
To say that their mother is right, please flag the moment.
I've never had a problem with that. You know that. I've never had an issue with that. Like, okay, all right. I know.
It's like the few times your father admitted that I was right.
Like, those name the times that he admitted you were right. What were those special moments?
Like I said, flag the moment. I wanted to record it and put it on a bumper sticker.
You should have. You know what? It would have been better if you just, spent the money, made a plaque. I think it'd be good for you.
Have the few plaques on the wall with the date. This was the date that my husband said I was right.
And you should put in quotes, in the quotations. Yes. It should be like a what's it called? It should be a whole. It should have. Oh my God! You should have made a whole trophy about it, a whole thing, thrown confetti, and then have little trophies. And then every single time you're right, it'll motivate you to really work on yourself instead of constantly being wrong.
There's only one problem. There'd be so few of them.
Nah, 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 nah. You're fine. You're good. You're good. Yeah. Oh my God. So the new year, ready to just move on. I've accomplished a lot this year. I
Baruch
got
Hashem.
accomplished a
Baruch
lot.
Hashem. I'm glad to hear that.
Definitely, definitely went through a lot. Definitely accomplished a lot. Um,
Had challenges, you met them, and you're stronger and better for them.
yeah, and people want to like put that down. It's like, oh, it's so typical. Like, what are you doing? It's not just typical. It's what humanity is. I think that's the whole point. Is that we are battling with time. We are battling with this feeling of just we gotta get better. We gotta move forward, and we gotta be more productive. And I think doing that just is a good enough motivation.
Well, something you taught, to have a positive attitude is not typical. And if you don't believe me, just look at the news sometimes. Like
Oh yeah.
when these riots happen. And what are these riots about? These riots are about people seeing themselves as victims and not able to get out of it, and that they have no other choice but to riot.
Yes and no, Ima. Yes and no. Yes and no. That some parts of the riot was frustration at a system that was that was against them. And if you understand and
Now you're talking about victim. But the thing is
no,
that they
but I
view themselves as
but
victims in the system that's
yes and
victimizing them, and
no.
it's not
Yes
necessarily the
and
case.
no, Ima. I can say this to myself as a person, as a human being, but I can't say that to somebody else because I'm not in their shoes. Ima, I am not in their shoes. All I can do is relate to them to the best of my ability, but I am not them. Okay, but if I was them, how would I do it? It's a hard thing to wrap your head around, and I'm not interested in going down that road. But I think the point I try to make is that you should love your fellow as you love yourself, and don't go ahead and be judgmental. And obviously, if people did something that was illegal, then just
Like the bike boys attacking the van and the
I
taxi.
saw that. I saw
Yes.
that. I saw that. But I don't want to go down that road. It's just not worth my time. It's really not. I'm really not interested.
Well,
I
we remember you and I before we came on the air.
yeah.
We were talking about the idea, and you know, about we were talking about political correctness, yada yada yada.
Yeah, but you got to
Yeah.
be careful, Emma. You're somebody who doesn't have anything to lose. I do.
Okay.
That's the truth.
Then I can say whatever I want.
You could technically do that. Anybody could technically do anything. I can go ahead and take my car right now and drive to New York City and go ahead and start working at some, diner, and then maybe start working at a comedy club or doing whatever. Like yeah, you could technically do everything, but you have your own responsibilities that you have to do. It's a back and forth where you have to find that middle ground. There's a reason why there's all these sayings and phrases where it's like, yeah, but what about that one and what about this one? Because the whole point is to find a middle ground between those two things.
Wow.
To like get involved and don't and don't let the world hold you back, and then you have all these other things that are going on. Well, it's finding that middle ground and pushing where you can push and stopping where you need to stop, and finding that ability to get to where you need to get to. You should definitely have an end goal. People should have an end goal, but it should be an end goal that shouldn't be so quick, because once you reach that end goal, you're gonna have to find a new one and another one and another one and another one.
Well, that's the nature of man. It's what was it? Tennessee Williams, remember in Glass Menagerie, he has an argument with his mother, Tom, the son, and he says, man is by nature a hunter. It is true. Humankind is really by nature a hunter. People don't stay stagnant. People want to move, and they want to get to a higher and higher level.
Yeah, That's the point of, I mean, that's one of the points of life. That's one of the meanings of life, is to do this, to make this world a better place, to elevate this world, to be closer to God. I mean, we're all there. We're all trying to do it. We're just on opposite ends of a bridge, and we're all getting mad at the other person as to why my nails don't work. It's the Tower of Babel all over again, constantly, every single day. It is ridiculous, but it is what it is. It's part of life. I work on our communication, work on understanding your fellow man, try to find the most opposite person of you and try to understand them. I think that's the best challenge anybody could ever make, is try to take the most opposite person of you and try to understand them. And then when you understand them, try to understand yourself, and go back and forth. And then you're never going to be stagnant, and you're always going to be working. It's kind of why when people retire, a lot of people, after they retire, they got 3 years left until they're dead. That's what Tati told me.
Mm.
He's like, yeah, but after 3 years after I retire, I'll probably be gone. And he was
Oh
right.
gosh, that's
he was
scary.
right. Yeah, he was right. He was spot on. And that's how it is. You got to do what you can. In Chabad, we have this whole thing, and in Judaism in general, it's about, trying to bring Mashiach, trying to bring world peace. And we always say we're very close to it. We constantly say that we're ready to greet Mashiach. We're ready to do things like that. And that's what we have to do, is what can we do to bring Mashiach? And especially, what have we done this year that can bring Mashiach? And what can we do next year to bring Mashiach even closer?
It's like when it comes to Mashiach, it's like I feel like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back sometimes.
Yeah, it might feel that way
Yeah.
sometimes. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to deny that is a reality. It definitely feels a little disheartening when you look at the world, look at the history, or you look at the news on a daily basis. But that's, again, the news is there to scare you. They're not there to inform you anymore.
That's so true.
Yeah. All right, so we are out of time. But thank you
Out of time
again.
and out of money.
Oh yeah. Thank you again, Ima. We really appreciate it.
Okay,
And thank you for our listeners for listening to the show.
love you, honey.
All right,
Have a
love
good
you too.
Shabbos.
Have a good Shabbos. Thank you for listening to Jewish Boy Calls His Mother. Please like and share, and find us on Facebook at Jewish Boy Calls His Mother Podcast. We are looking forward to hearing from you.